Welcome to Power Hour, where the editors of Power Sports Business interview the movers and shakers of the power sports industry.
As the ink was barely dry on the sale of Indian Motorcycle to Carolwood LP, we reached out to Mike Kennedy, who's a 30-year veteran of the motorcycle industry, and he's also the new CEO of Indian Motorcycle. Kennedy's career includes leadership roles as CEO of Rumble On, he's president and CEO of Vance & Hines, and he spent 26 years with Harley-Davidson. We spoke to Mike about the transition to being independent and what the future may hold for the iconic American motorcycle brand, which is also celebrating 125 years in 2026.
Excited about the opportunity. I mean, I couldn't be more excited. It feels like a startup, but you don't often do a startup with a brand that's been around for 125 years and it's compliant global product line and 600 dealers and
That's right.
a manufacturing footprint and engineering competencies like that we have. So it's super exciting. I'm super excited to be here. So,
you've kind of answered some of my intro here, which was kind of, what is it about this role? I mean, you've done a lot. You've been at Harley-Davidson for a long time, previously. Then you were at Rumble On or Ride Now Group. So you've been kind of on the OEM side, the dealer side with a big dealer group, and then you did a stint with Vance & Hines, so the aftermarket side. I mean, you got kind of all angles of it covered, and then this thing kind of comes along. What is it about this that excited you?
Well, I think your question's a great lead up to why I'm excited, right? I mean, I feel like I've been working 35 years for that phone call that I got back in May. All kinds of stuff went through my head, right? I mean, I've been watching the Indian brand evolve over the last decade or so, whether it's on the track, whether it's competing against them when I was an OE, whether it was I was a dealer, right? I was at Ride Now. We were a dealer for, with 13 or 14 Indian stores, So
right.
I've seen it full circle, and really impressed with what they've been able to do, It's just incredibly humbled by grabbing the handlebars of America's first motorcycle company and the responsibility to ensure this brand is around for another 125 years. I think that one of the things that is just not fully understood yet is, as good as Polaris is, and they're a great company, great culture, I have nothing but great things to say about them, right? But when you are a $12 billion, 10,000 employee company, and you've got a motorcycle division that's 7% of your revenue.
Right. Yeah.
And by the way, that business is highly entangled throughout every function of the business. Okay. You then make decisions a certain way.
Yeah.
Now here we are today, February 5th, 2026. We are 900 employees. We're a $500 million company. We sell around 25,000 bikes globally. And we wake up every day and we singularly focus on motorcycles. And so you tend to make different decisions in a different way when that's at stake, and that's what you're consumed with, And the team's excited. Like, the team is excited by what we can do and how much
of the new
more
products coming out. I mean, I know you've got like that vintage Chief that's kind of it's really a throwback, to some of those early days, and it looks really cool. But
it's a home run brand. I mean, the reason why it's a home run is there's only one OEM that can do that bike, only one.
Right.
And the team nailed it, right? And they brought it out on the 125th anniversary, which is brilliant move. I mean, obviously that was decisions made way before I came along on the scene, right? But the bike is awesome. I had a chance to ride it in California 2 weeks ago.
Okay. Yeah.
And it does a great job of, when you sit on the bike and you've got that solo sprung seat and the handlebars, it throws you back to the 40s, but it's got a modern engine. It's got a great technology. I think the team just really nailed it. It's an awesome bike.
I mean, I think that, and again, with some of these new bikes coming out, people still want that heritage and that vintage look, they just don't want to tinker around with carburetors maybe anymore,
Right.
and
Exactly.
and a lot of the old stuff that breaks in, I mean, some guys do, and I know there's
Yeah.
guys that are good at it, but there's a lot of guys, they just want to get on it and ride it and look cool
Right.
and be able to enjoy it and put it away and not have to worry about trying to get it started again after a couple of months or a winter time.
Yeah.
So
Carry,
I
carry,
think that,
carry. You got to carry that Phillips screwdriver in your back pocket in case you need to make an
oh yeah,
adjustment on it.
right. You gotta have a little mini toolkit with everything you
Yeah.
need, and then it's a different kind of rider from back in those days to what we are now. But what do you see, like, going forward? What do you see that's going to be different? Because you said it's been very intertwined with Polaris and being was only kind of a niche market for them. It's hard to believe, saying $500 million is a niche market, but
Right.
that's kind of the way it is. And do you think you'll be able to take more market share out of this segment from, the big dog, I guess, to so to speak, without
I,
naming
I,
who that
I
is?
100% believe we can. And the reason why I believe we can, you think about our brand, you think about having 600 dealers across the world, 220 or 30 here in the United States of America, world-class manufacturing, and the product line that we have today. I mean, let's just break it down, right? The Cruiser, right?
Yeah,
Scout is like, and what I like about our brand and what I like about, and by the way, we've stated this to our dealers, we are going to be laser focused on cruisers, baggers, touring, and very soon trikes. And
yeah,
that's what we're going to focus on. So you asked the question, do you think we can I'll say continue to grab share? Because the company is grabbing share today, right?
yeah.
2025, the books just came in and our share increased in a tough market. And do I think we can continue that? I think we can accelerate that. And why do I think that? Because we're going to focus on those product categories. I think in the past, the companies tried to do too much. Number one,
Right.
I think they were at times not committed to their product story.
Yeah.
And things were maybe sometimes just very complicated. So we're gonna clean it up. We're gonna focus in really hard. The company's gonna be run by an avid motorcycle rider, someone that's been
Yeah.
in the business, as you
Someone
said,
that
from
knows it from the
yeah.
all rounds of it, which, not to point any fingers exactly, but there's some competitors out there with new CEOs that are bringing them in from the outside. Maybe they know
Well,
marketing,
yeah,
but
and by the way, listen, I mean, hey, just because I've been in the industry doesn't mean I'm going to be successful, right?
yeah,
But I think what it tells you is how is this leader going to think about the business, right? We're going to be real serious. We're going to partner with the aftermarket.
yeah,
Why? Let's talk about why. Why? Because the aftermarket is important to our riders, right?
yeah,
So
absolutely.
that's we're gonna have. I made this statement in Los Angeles, and here's my statement: we are gonna have the best relationship with our dealer network across any OEM. That's my expectation. My team knows that. Okay. Now, why are we going to do that, and how are we going to do that? We're going to do that trust through transparency. I call it, right? We're not always going to agree, right? We're not always going to agree. They're not always going to like the decision. But when we disagree, my commitment is we'll invest in understanding why we disagree. And my team will do a
And
great
listen.
job of helping, yeah, listen and help them understand the why, right? Why did we make this decision? And not just marketing, but product development and commercial terms and everything else. And okay, so now let's talk about why we're going to do that. We're not doing it so we're liked, although everyone likes to be liked, but that's not why we're doing it. We're doing it because I recognize the value when you have 600 dealers around the globe and they know that they have their OEM has their back.
Yeah.
They're delivering customer experience every day, whether it's delivery or post sale. I'm not a retailer. My team's not retailers. I need dealers, and I don't need them looking over their back, worried about does Indian have their back or not. So
Are they
that's
going
why
to
we're going
have
to do that, and that's so
margin? And,
important.
they need to have margin, reading some of the stuff online, even earlier today, just, people talking about Polaris not having enough margin, but now you're going to be separate of Polaris. Will you be working on having better margins for dealers?
Our our scorecard our scorecard will be the health of the dealer network.
Okay.
It has to be. I mean, think about
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Like if our dealers go out of business, we're done, right? If we
Right.
have an unhealthy dealer network and the dealer network is churning, like that's horrible for our riders. We can't have that. It's also horrible for fellow dealers, right? I
Yeah.
mean, if you're in a market where there's 2 dealers or 3 dealers, or a state where there's 5 dealers or whatever, and they're turning over, I mean, that's not
It's
what.
confusing in the marketplace for the, and you see in a lot of these dealers that, some of them legacy brands that have gone under, legacy dealers that have kind of gone under or sold that, but it's like if you can see how it affects customers too. They're like, hey, I don't want to have to get to know a whole new dealership.
That's right.
I've had a good relationship, with this dealer, and they kind of want to keep that, and it's I think those are important to to keep it a healthy relationship with dealers and the OEMs, and then dealers with their riding community.
100%. And
And
we need more, and we need more dealers. I mean, we definitely do. And by the way, I'll just say it. We're comfortable competing in a multi-branded showroom. Like, we're not afraid of that. Like, I mean,
yeah.
we love it when a dealer is exclusive. Sometimes that's market dependent.
How
But
many of your dealers now are? I know there was in the beginning, there were a lot more Indian, it was trying to be, competing right up against Harley with their specific kind of showrooms and those, brand specific only uh, buildings and storefronts, basically. Are you seeing that? Is that number growing or shrinking, or does that?
it's about 40 dealers in North America are exclusive Indian dealers,
Okay.
and the rest of them are multi-line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, let's face it, multi-line, dealers have to keep the lights on. And I think if they have a brand that works for them, they're going to put everything they can into it. Are you going to help out? Inventory is kind of a big issue, or has been, especially on the cruiser side of things. People, having to, are you going to help control that inventory level so that, dealers can get through what they have and they're not overstuffed?
Yes, and we'll do that. We'll do that by simplifying our product line, and that's a huge tool to help us do that. The product line today is bloated, and it makes it difficult for the rider to shop, and it
Yeah.
makes it challenging for the dealer to manage. And
Yeah.
so we've already announced to our dealers that we're going to, in a meaningful and also smart way, reduce the number of SKUs so that they get more inventory turns, and it's easier for the rider to shop our product line. It's a challenge today to shop the product line because there's so many offerings.
Right. Yeah. I mean, then again, it kind of comes down to that's where partnering more with aftermarket companies. And I think this is what has helped. We know on the automotive side, like, say, let's take the small block Chevy, for instance. If they didn't have the aftermarket, and making that small block Chevy what it is or what it has been, that engine, that platform might not have existed the way it had, the way it was. So
Yep. Yep.
I feel like having smart partnerships and allowing aftermarket companies to work their magic just brings everything up.
Yep. I agree.
You'll bring you'll have your accessories. We know that, I'm sure you're going to have aftermarket accessories that you get
Yep.
that will be Indian branded and all that. But, I mean, it's worked well for a lot of, other brands that have been successful in that realm. So,
Yep, for sure.
so going forward, like, the dealer net, what do you think is the biggest obstacle for the dealer network today, or what is the biggest opportunity?
Well, I mean, that's a great question. You're talking about our dealers.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I think there's a number of dealers out there who are highly engaged in the brand. And I mean, I talked to a dealer the other day, and his market share is incredible. He's running out of bikes. He's just doing great stuff.
Yeah.
So there's a recipe that dealers know that when they engage and they drive the business, they outperform their peers.
Yeah.
I think sometimes dealers maybe put too much on their plate, try to do too much. Um, Getting that, if you have multiple brands, getting the right mix of brands in your showroom. So you've got that. I don't know if you saw, but I think it's the first Harley dealer brought in Indian into their showroom over in Pennsylvania.
Oh, yeah, I haven't seen that one yet. Now that'd be interesting for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah,
I'd love to see some more of that kind of combination and just allowing to, have a little. I mean, you see it with auto groups, big auto groups that might have a Ford and a Chevy dealer, or a Honda
sure,
dealer and a Toyota dealer,
sure.
in the same mall, kind of, in that same
Yeah,
area. So, I think it can work. And again, of course, you guys with Harley and Indian being really the American iron of,
sure.
it's kind of then the other stuff kind of fits in other segments more or less. But
Right.
um, you know, there's also some of these other segments can be nipping at your heels too, as far as
Sure.
like entry level bikes. You're seeing more of a shift to some smaller bikes, a little more versatile bikes. Is this anything, that you see down the road happening, with we've heard Harley talking about having a sub $7,000 bike. That's been a
Yeah.
big talk or rumor, but we haven't seen it yet either. So
Hey, listen, I hope somebody asked me about that the other day. I hope Harley comes out with a $6,000 bike. I hope they sell millions of them a year. I really do. I honestly
yeah,
100% hope that they do that. Um, when you look at our product line and you look at the cruiser, both middle and heavyweight, touring, baggers and touring, right? The market share growth, the opportunity to grow this business in those segments is, I mean, it's significant. I mean, like
yeah,
meaningful difference to this organization, right? And when you look at our current product line, the Scout 60 has an
yeah,
MSRP of not under $10,000.
yeah. I
And
think that's a good.
I would argue with anybody in the industry, I bring the argument on that Scout is the sexiest cruiser on the globe, and it's got
It's
great performance and great technology and a price point of 99.99, right? So I'm in the entry level market, sure.
yeah,
6,000, 7,000, okay. The pre-owned market is a fantastic entry point into this brand, right? And we sometimes
true.
don't think about that. But no, we are not going to try and be everything to everybody. We are going to focus on our segments. We are going to leverage our product strategy, our heritage, our DNA, partner with our dealers, give our dealers give our dealers great products to sell and an OEM that has their back. I mean, it's
Yeah.
just, to me, that's the simple recipe that we're going to be focused on. And we see huge upside when we do that. And we do that well.
Uh, Fast forward, say 3 years from now, what needs to be true for you to say this transition and leadership change was a real success?
Great question. When I think about that, I think about uh, dealers saying, so not me saying, dealers telling fellow dealers that there's no better OEM than any motorcycle company. I'll have a highly engaged team that's engaged in the business, and our market share will be we'll be leading in cruisers,
In those
heavyweight and
segments.
middleweight in those segments. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I think that yeah, you nailed it. If you can hit those kind of benchmarks, I mean, I would say for sure that's a success. Even if you hit a couple of those, I think it'd
Sure.
be still good. So,
Well,
but
and to me, when I think about that, and I didn't rehearse that. It was a good question. I didn't rehearse it. When I think about that, the first two things are the most important to me,
yeah,
right? It's that if in 3 years you call randomly 10, 20 dealers and you say, "Hey, are they a good OEM?" My expectation is, "Oh my God, they're fantastic. I trust them. They're transparent, right?" And same thing with the team, right? They would be saying, no, but this is a great company to work for, and it's an engaged workforce, and we're doing great things. And then if
Yeah.
we do that, I guarantee the market share will follow, right?
Yeah.
That's the bet. That's the bet.
With all the talk of private equity, what should dealers know to be reassured with this new company,
Great.
private equity? Because sometimes it gets a bad name. I don't think it's always a bad thing. Like I said, I think it's enabled you guys to go independent and to focus on your core things. But what would you tell dealers about this?
Well, here's what I told dealers in LA last 2 weeks ago. Okay. And I'm going to just tell you something straight up, right? I don't think it's fair for someone to categorically say private equity is bad. Like, so that's where I start from, right?
Yeah.
So I've had a couple run-ins with private equity. And here's what private equity wants, right? And it's the same thing as if you and I bought any motorcycle company. We would want a good return on our invested capital, right? We would want that, right? Okay. We probably would want the company to be financially well-run financially, so that we didn't have to go home and ask our wife to empty the checkbook to make payroll, right? That's probably something we'd want. And we want a good management team, right? A good professional management team making good decisions, certainly in the public eye, right?
Yeah.
That's what private equity wants. That's what Carolwood wants. Carolwood's words to me, Mike, we love this brand and we want to do everything possible to keep this brand around for another 125 years.
Yeah.
And I think so if somebody, and I know a lot of people are like, they get nervous about private equity, so I'm not ignorant to that. I'm just challenging that. I love that debate. If you like the fact that a 35-year motorcycle veteran is running this company, don't thank me. Thank the guys at Carolwood.
Yeah.
They called me up and said, hey, we don't know the motorcycle business, Mike. We love brands, and we think this is a fantastic brand. We got a muscle around specializing in untangling corporate divestitures. And
that's really what they are that's their expertise, right? It's kind of untangling, because there's a lot of things, as you said, that there were kind of crossover and thing that you're going to have to untangle as the year goes on.
Incredible. I mean, systems, processes, plants. I mean, just highly entangled business, right? Ton of work. I mean, we've been working on it for 6 months, and thankfully, happily, successfully, Monday morning, we turned the lights on and we made bikes. We could engineer them. We could take care of customers. Dealers could order parts. There's some issues, but things are working. But so on the private equity thing, I would challenge anybody to that. Here's another statement I'll share with people who are scared of private equity, right? So what other companies have been owned or are owned by private equity? Here's an example. I'll give you 2 examples. Fender guitar.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And then if I said that to a bunch of power sports people, they might say, well, but that's different. It's guitars. It's not dealers or whatever. Okay, great.
It's still a luxury item.
It is. Yeah. I'll give you another one. You ready for this one? BRP.
Well, I guess that in a sense they are actually owned by.
No, BRP was majority owned by Bain Capital for, I think it was 10 or 11 years.
Okay.
Don't quote me on that, but I believe it was on 10. I know when I worked there, I worked at BRP for a short period of time, and we were majority owned by Bain Capital. So I think that company's done okay.
Yeah, they pulled out all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think everybody can relax on the private equity thing. You got to give them credit for hiring some industry talent. And this is super exciting for myself and the team. It's like a startup, but when you do a startup, you don't have 600 dealers and a brand and technology and compliant product line and everything else. So we're in a really fantastic position and super excited about what's in front of us.
What do you think? Just last question, real quick. What do you think? How do you see 2026 from your perspective right now?
Yeah, I mean, we're pretty excited about 2026. I think we're probably not, we're probably unique in that we've got 125th anniversary
Yeah,
celebration. We've got we've already announced one new product. We've got some other, sort of like surprises coming throughout the year. We've got new ownership, we got new leadership, we got new focus. So
right.
we're cautiously optimistic about calendar year 2026 and making some changes to the business, leaning into our heritage, leaning into our strategy, and getting a little more serious about the motorcycle business.
Sounds great. Well, hey, thank you so much for joining us, Mike. I really appreciate. We really wish you all the luck and success going forward. We're excited to watch it here. I can't imagine how exciting it must be on your side.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I think this is a really good thing for the industry right now. Just to have a fresh start and a refocus on a brand that really is, what is America's first motorcycle brand, kind of
Yep.
it really is the has and then going into America's 250th anniversary with your 125th. I mean, you couldn't align this stuff even better if you wrote it,
I agree.
So
I agree.
yeah.
We're blessed.
So and yeah, congratulations and
Thank you.
and good luck. Thank you so
Thank you
much.
very much. If we can
All
ever
right.
help with anything, please reach out. We'll get you whatever you need.
Oh, absolutely. Well, and I appreciate you. You had Greg Drevenstedt out, and he did a nice review on the vintage bike, the Chief Vintage there. So he did a nice write up there. But yeah, I mean, we'll let you, if there's any dealer events or things like that, you let us know. We'd like to be there. So
Okay. Okay.
all right.
Sounds good. Thank
Keep
you.
us in mind. All right.
Okay.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye.
If you like this podcast, please like, share, and subscribe. We also invite you to connect with us on powersportsbusiness.com.